Right, people. So I was really intrigued by this. You know what I mean? There's a new film just hit Netflix called Night Teeth. So I gauged it was going to be some sort of vampire thing. And look, we've had a lot over the years, right? But not all have really cut the mustard. So the big thing was, how would this stand up? You know what I mean? So it is directed by Adam Randall and written by Brent Dillon. It is produced by Ben Pugh, Charles Morrison, and Vincent Gatewood. Okay, cinematography is Eben Bolter. It's edited by Dominic Lapmery. Music is Drum and Lace and Ian Holtquist. Right, it is a Netflix presents piece, right? And yeah, our cast. Well, we have George Ledenborg Jr. as Benny. Um, his brother Jay is played by Raul Castillo. Um, He's Abuela, his gran. She's played by Marlene Forte. We also have um Zoe. She's played by Lucy Fry. We have Blair, played by Debbie Ryan. Victor is Alfie Allen. We have Eva, played by Sydney Sweeney. We have Geo, played by Brian Batt. We have Rocco, played by Alexander Ludwig. Right? And you know what I mean? Second week in a row, we have Megan Fox in a piece. So she plays a character called Grace. Now, the gist of the film, people, it is this. Actually, what is the gist of the film? Yes, to earn some extra cash, quirky college student Benny moonlight as a chauffeur for one night. His task: drive two mysterious young women around Los Angeles for a night of party hopping. Taken captive by his client's charm, he soon learns that his passengers have their own plans for him and an insatiable thirst for blood. As his night spins out of control, Benny is thrust into the middle of a clandestine war that pits rival tribes of vampires against the protectors of the human world, led by his brother Jay, who will stop at nothing to send them back into the shadows. With sunrise fast approaching, Benny is forced to choose between fear and temptation if he wants to stay alive and save the city of Los Angeles. Yeah, I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's quite that, people. Whew. But you know, it's more or it is more to the truth than some of them. Let's say this, right? So with all of that, right? With all of that being said, now I just all I kind of knew about this was right a guy driving two girls around, and he's trying to stay. He needs to get to Dawn to stay alive. That's all I knew going in, right? Which isn't really the film. So it was interesting to see how this one all panned out. Gotta say, I enjoyed the way it started. I enjoyed the way this got kicking. So we're seeing, you know, we've got some visuals of Los Angeles, the nighttime, and we've got a voiceover, a female, and she's breaking down what's what, right? So it was a quick little intro into the world. And so, you know, vampires and humans, at the moment, they live side by side. They never used to, right? There was a war, things went down, and they formed a truce. They formed a truce, and there's three rules. I wrote these down because I was like, okay, so don't let humans know who they are, right? Never feed on the unwilling, okay? And never go into Boyle Heights without permission. Bum, bum, bum. So, yeah, those are the three rules. And as you can imagine, them rules are gonna be broken tonight. Yes, 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 yes. So, we start off with a guy meeting his girlfriend. You think something bad's gonna happen because we have a girl, she's at a laundrette, she reaches into the washing machine, and you think, oh, this is a sign someone's gonna sneak up and behind her, kill her, you know, all that jazz. But no, it's just a boyfriend picking her up, right? So we see them driving. Now, as we've heard this voiceover, we kind of get the gist, right? So we have them driving, and he spots a vampire. So yeah, you kind of figure he's involved in this, and he spots one. He's driving off, and you know, his girlfriend. Seems like she doesn't really know the gist of things, right? Which makes sense again. And he's tells her to drive, and he's going to investigate. He's like, "Yo, you leave." But as he goes into this building, she's snatched from the car. Now, you do watch all of this, and it's fine. This bit's fine, but it is one of those things where you're like, he didn't need to stop. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't need to stop, and she was told to drive, and she didn't drive, right? And you're just like, what are these motherfuckers doing? Right? This is some silly shit. But boom, so we have this, and then next we are with Benny, and he's at university, right? He's falling asleep in the lecture, right? He gets woken up, all of that kind of thing. We see him turn around, look at a girl, and we kind of figure he kind of likes his chick. But this girl's got a boyfriend who kind of, you know, arm around the shoulder, be like, yo, she's with me, son. Right. So we get all of that jazz. This has all been established. Then we see Benny, you know what I mean, just skating around, trying to hustle, do some things, right? He's trying to make some money so he can, like, you know, do his music shit, right? Um, so he's with his brother, and he finds out that his brother can't, he's missing he doesn't have a driver, right? His brother can't do it. So he's just like, oh, I'll do it. I'll drive, right? And that's where we get into this story. Now, that's all fine, right? It's all fine. You know, it's an easy way into the story. I will say, well, the one thing though, I just was like, he's wearing this cheap suit to drive the car, which is fine. But he's wearing trainers, and I'm just a bit like, yo, couldn't we just put him in shoes, right? Couldn't we just put him like? Do we have to really do these cliches? You know, do we really have to do these cliches? But yeah, these two girls that show up, Zoe and Blair, right? And you know, all kind of stylish and all of that, kind of sucker punchy, if you remember that from back in the day, right? So they're going to different places, right? They're going to different places throughout this night. There's all these different spots they need to hit, which you definitely feel something fishy is going on. Right? And yeah, as the night goes on, things happen and it all goes crazy, right? Which I feel in itself not a bad way to tell the story. Now, Zoe and Blair, they're good, right? These characters, for what they're meant to be. Yeah, Zoe comes off as a little cray, a little menacing. Blair's fine. She's a good sidekick to Zoe. I feel that where this falls down, I do think because it's an hour and 48 minutes, hour and 48 minutes, man. Which I mean, it does seem a little long, right? It seems a little long. And yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. It's a little bit of a problem because there's these points. Now, I've seen people talk about there's not enough action. It's not the fact there's not enough action. It's just we have these points in the film where it just feels like padding. The film doesn't need to be this long because we have these scenes that aren't really doing anything. We are fabricating this love interest, which you have to ask yourself, why? Right? Why would there be that here? Why? We haven't seen anything that will we haven't seen anything that shows why this needs to be or why it would be, right? So there is that does kind of ring a bit weird, and this kid Benny, we have him as a little skittish, you know what I mean? He seems he doesn't like confrontation. That's been kind of established. But then you have these moments of him being like, hey, what are you? And it's just like, what? Right? It doesn't make any sense because before this, we've seen him try to run. We've seen him get gripped up. We've seen him scared, worried, panicking. Like, hey, if he had peed his pants, you'd be like, yeah, that fits. That fits. So it then didn't make sense any of the times where he's like, hey, huh, you need to, and talking back. Because you're just like, he ain't doing it. Right now, they reference Kill Bill in this film. Right. So here's the thing. It's clear that, okay, you've seen movies, and if Kill Bill has been around in this universe, that means you would have seen Dusk Till Dawn, you would have seen Blade, you would have seen Underworld, you know what I mean? Van Helsing, Dracula, just all of them things. So Benny would know the predicament he's in. Right? He would also know the things that could possibly kill these. He would know from the stories where certain things lead. Right? This isn't going to be foreign to him. But there is this weirdness where he walks into situations and he does things and he seems all shocked. And it's just like, what? It's weird, right? You have him. There's a point where he goes through a bag, but then when we see him, put it back, he doesn't do it back up, right? He throws the phone, and you're just like, if you're trying to mask what you've done, you ain't doing it, right? You already know these people are, they could kill you, and that's what you're. Yeah, so these reactions are weird, right? These reactions are weird, right? There's a point where he takes them to a place, and you're just like, why would you do that? Right? Why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. There's some weird actions from Benny throughout the film. Throughout the film, especially where we're showing at one moment he's going to run, and then the next moment he does this next thing, and you're like, what? What are you doing, motherfucker? You know what I mean? So yeah, that's weird, right? That was super weird. And it didn't really make any sense. So I think from something that has promise, it doesn't quite meet it for me. Right? Our villains, like Alfie Allen, is a big bad, but he's just not menacing. He's not menacing in the just crazy, you know what I mean, berserker way like a Kurgan, but he's not even right. You could say they want to try and play it like Deacon Frost in Blade, and even Hulk really, no, Stephen Dorff, sorry, Stephen Dorff, yeah, great. He was great in that role. Because essentially, actually, Victor is Deacon Frost, but without that same cold determination, that steel, where you feel, oh, he's gonna fuck you up. Like Alfie Allen, he just seemed a little wet behind the ears. You know what I mean? Then when you had like Megan Fox's character, her and this other girl, who are meant to be like, yeah, heads of, again, there's not that menace, right? Everyone gets dressed up and the costumes and that it looks good, right? It looks very stylish, but just that backbone, that zest, I didn't really feel it's there. Now, I kind of feel for the Twilight generation, this would work, right? This would work. It's more Twilight, it's more insurgent and them type of things, right? True Blood. It's not really your Blade, right? And for me, that's kind of, that's kick ass. Blade 2. Yeah, they're like two of the top vampire films, right? Or 40 Days and Nights, right? It's not that. So, yeah, I feel if you're a Twilight cat, then I think Night Teeth will work for you, you know? But if you want something with more of a bite, yes, yes, I said it, people. If that's what you're looking for, it's not quite that, right? But kind of works. And it does end in the point where you could possibly get a franchise. I feel it is opened up to a potential universe, but we'll see, right? It's a Netflix joint. So, yeah, who knows, right? They could spin it off into a TV series. There are avenues for it. But yeah, depends what you dig, people. It is very stylish, very looks very crisp. You know what I mean? So there is that. So yeah, maybe for you people, Night